Still want to talk about you buying crack on the streets of Charleston. Now it's in the video.
Hey, there's a thing called editing.
With zero, I don't edit, right? It's go for it. Zero context, right? So people are gonna be like, what?
What?
Please edit that out.
I can't.
Yes, you can. I'll help you.
He said
No,
be
she
the
wasn't buying
beast.
crack in the
you
streets
know.
of Charleston. It's a funny story. All right. It's been a month, probably, right? Because I was off for a week. We were shorthanded. You know, we were all taking time off. So I'm gonna do a quick recap of the highlights, and then did you guys know that there's actually videos you can go back and watch?
I'm gonna start watching them
So
again. I know
if
got
you
the
want to
channel.
watch them, if you want to get now, I did go back myself and watch the last couple to get back into the flow. But we're actually gonna take a different track, right? We basically have 16 videos on there now, and now we're gonna take this and we're gonna start applying it,
Okay.
right? In a different way. It's always gonna loop back on itself. We did that in one of the videos I showed. It keeps going forward, but we're coming back and pulling stuff forward. So that's the whole idea of this system of training, right? Who remembers what that was? I know Sean had a question about it.
You gotta know.
What is this?
Where you are,
Where you are.
where you want to be, why you
Why.
want to be there, and you switch the how to who. You
All right, so why is that important?
Your why is what drives you and keeps you accountable for getting from 1 to 2.
Okay, so your why drives you, keeps you accountable, right? So allows yourself to hold yourself accountable, to understand why you want something gives you purpose,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's number 3. Why is it important to know what number 1 is? What is it? Do you remember what Dean Graziosi called this?
What's his name again?
Dean Graziosi? He called it the success map. Okay, why is it important to know where you are?
gotta look at yourself and see why you are where you are right now.
Yeah, you got to take an inventory, right? If you own a business, you got to take inventory of your stock, and you got to figure out, okay, if there's something that needs to go, it's got to go, right? Okay, where you are right now helps you figure out how the hell to get to where you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you don't know the difference between those, if you think
It's America.
right, it's pretty close.
Texas is a little big.
Texas is a little smaller there, but you know, Florida. Clearly, I like Florida a lot. But let's say you want to get to Los Angeles. You can go visit Los Angeles. You sure as heck don't want to live there, right? You want to go visit LA, and you're in New York. You know how to get from New York to LA.
Yeah.
Okay? But what if you think you're in New York, but you're actually in Miami?
It's a little different.
You're in trouble.
If you take that same path, you're going to end up in Cabo, which isn't too bad. Not quite, right? You're going to end up somewhere in the Pacific, right? So that's why it's important to know where you are and where you want to go, right? Why is it important to know where you want to go?
So you'll know when you get there.
To have a
So,
purpose.
so you know when you get there, okay?
To have a purpose.
To have a purpose. What is that? I actually like that idea. So no, to have a purpose for your daily actions, right? So you're actually building to something else, okay? And what is number 4? The how to who.
Who you're gonna emulate. How you
Right. Right, because if we model someone who's been successful, we'll help ourselves get there faster, right? That's the whole idea of how is a strategy. We get hung up on how, right? Because that's all that we focus on, and we forget that we've got to have a why, right? Everybody, I'm gonna go through this real quick. But most businesses know what they do, right? Most businesses, most people in business know what they do. Good businesses know how they do it. And the best businesses know why.
Simon Sinek.
Yes, I was about to say, if you want to see this explained,
It's good.
What is it?
Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. You want to see the gold? These are called the golden circles. You want to see this explained? Go on YouTube and look up Simon Sinek, golden
C or
circles.
an S?
I'm sorry?
With a C for the last name or an S?
S.
SINEK.
Okay.
Okay. He also wrote a book called Start with Why, Find Your Why, and Leaders Eat Last. He's probably got more now. But this book, YouTube video, it's about 10, 15 minutes. It's fantastic. All right, so watch it. I'm not going to do a disservice to him and recreate it. You can go on YouTube and it's a 10-minute video, okay?
Yeah, it's good.
It's fantastic.
The main message is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll help you here, too.
It will help you here. 100%. I agree. 100%.
That's what we're looking for, something to help us here.
Yeah, that's what we're all looking for, right? So speaking of here, with where you are right now, are you going to meet your goals that you have set up for this past year?
For this year, for the last month that we have?
Yep. Because we're in December,
Mm-hmm.
right? End of the year's approaching. Somebody's messed with my.
Start right now.
No, somebody messed with it.
It's loose.
Yeah. All right.
There we go.
Woo. See if that happens again. This past year, so we're in December. We have 12 months to a year, right? So we had goals, assuming that you had a goal for 2024. You may not have written it down. Probably did by now. You may not have written down your goals at the beginning of this year, but I'm sure you've done it thus far because that's one of the things we've done. We've written down our goals. Life goals, long term, which is 3 to 5 years, medium term, and short term.
Personal, professional, yeah.
Yep, personal and professional, 2 different categories. This past year, where you are right now, looking back 12 months, can you say, yep, I did what I wanted to accomplish. I accomplished what I was setting out for. I am where I want to be. I am where I wanted to be at the end of this year, looking back. Ask yourself, are you going to hit your goals? Are you where you want to be? Right? That's part of this. Where are you right now? Because in 365 days, you're going to be 365 days older. Right? We're doing it again. We just keep going. Right? This past year. And this coming year, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, are you going to hit your goals for 2025?
Yeah.
If you keep doing what you're doing, are you going to hit your goals for next year? If you keep on the path you're on. Now, if you're on a path where you're growing, fantastic, but be honest with yourself and give yourself a real evaluation here. That's what we're going to get into is how we make this determination. But ask yourself, this coming year, if I keep doing what I'm doing now, am I actually going to hit my goals? Okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
You think so?
Uh-huh.
You don't think so? I appreciate your honesty. Why?
Well, because I just moved here, so I have to change my view of prospecting. I have to think of different ways to bring clients in because I don't know anybody. So obviously, from today to next year, that's going to change. But as of today, no, I don't see getting to my goal as it is right now. I have to do things to change that, which I'm working on.
So you don't think over the next 12 months you're going to hit the goal that you actually have?
I have a pretty high goal, so I'll be close, and hopefully I can hit it.
Yeah, but you don't
Some
think so.
some things are gonna have to get in place.
Something's going to have to change.
Yeah.
Fair. All right. So I want you to do something. Does anybody know what SWOT is?
Repeat it.
SWOT. S-W-O-T.
Uh-huh. What is the meaning?
I want you to ask yourself a question. Are you going to hit your goals for this past year? Looking back, you had goals this year. Are you going to hit them? And then for the coming year, are you going to hit your goals? You too, Rick T.
Yes.
Are you going to hit your goals for this past year, and are you going to hit next year's goals? Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. We talked about plans, right? So ask yourself the question, and then this is the perfect opportunity. right? It's the end of the year. We have this psychological thing with New Year's resolutions and restarting at the beginning of the year, right? We make these commitments to ourselves, right? Okay, I'm gonna use that.
Deb needs to see it. She's leaving about 12:30.
I'm gonna be writing on my notes on my phone.
Yeah, that's cool. I want you to do something right now, and not right now, I'm sorry. I want you to do something today. When you leave here, I want you to do a SWOT analysis, S.W.O.T. I'm going to do the same thing. All right? So, what a SWOT analysis is, for those who haven't heard, you have to take a look at yourself. You can do analysis of yourself. You can ask yourself, okay, these are, and I wrote it out here so that you have it already, and you can put it in the margin. But internal and things that you can impact are S and W. These are internal influences. These are your strengths and your weaknesses. So take some time today and figure out, okay, what are my strengths? As related to my business goals, as related to my personal goals, what are my strengths? And I would encourage you, because we're here, do this with everything. Do this in your personal life as well. It's especially important. It'll have an impact on your business. But here, my goals as a salesperson, what are my strengths? These are the things that I continue to grow. If I'm good at something, I can get better at it, right? So you got to know what your strengths are. You got to play to your strengths, right? If you're charismatic with your customers, you play to that strength. You make sure you ham it up with them. If you like people, you play to that strength. You take an interest in them, right? You develop your curiosity about them and you find out who they are. And then they buy a car from you because they like you back. And what are my weaknesses? What are the areas I can get better? Maybe you do have charisma, but you don't have the product knowledge that you want. Maybe you want to increase your product knowledge. Maybe you're not as good at demoing used cars as you need to be. Maybe you need to increase your knowledge of the competitor's product, so to speak, right? I don't know what it is for you, but what are your strengths and weaknesses? Figure out what those are for you. And then, O and T, what do you think those are? Anybody have a guess? These are external factors. You can't impact them, but you can influence and monitor them.
T is probably time. No?
No.
Okay.
It's a good try, though. No, it's a good guess. I know, I'm asking you to shoot in the dark.
I should know this because I took it in psychology, but I can't think of it.
Well, this is more organizational psychology. I don't know if you would have taken it in a personal psychology class.
No, it was like one of the first classes in the degree,
Okay.
along with, what do we call it? DEI.
Opportunities and threats. Now, businesses do this. Right? You get leadership does a SWOT analysis of their business. Let me get out of the way on this side. Everybody can see it. So businesses do this. Leaders, management, they should do a good SWOT analysis. Because you're going to identify the strengths within your organization, the weaknesses within the organization, the opportunities that are present, and the threat to your business. Now, you are a business, right? You are running You Inc. Okay? Think of your life as that. Treat it that way. Whether it's where you want to travel to, or how many cars you want to sell, or what position you want to aspire to. Okay? Strengths and weaknesses are your internal factors that you can impact, and then the external factors, you have to be aware of where are the opportunities for you to grow and hit your goals, right? Now, what are some opportunities you might come up with? off the top of your head?
Outside prospecting.
Outside prospecting, okay. What does that entail?
Leaving business cards.
Leaving business cards, okay. Tell me about that.
Like, let's just say you go to a restaurant, leave a business card.
The same thing hit my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a great server, right?
And piggybacking what he said.
Yep.
So funny you said restaurant. So I go to Kickin' Chicken on Wednesdays, right, and get my $7.99, 15 chicken nuggets. So I was talking to this guy. He was like, "I need a truck, but I don't need one to the end of the month." That was 6 weeks ago. I sent him a video on the truck I knew he wanted, walking back here. He just contacted me today and said, "Hey, I remember you, I liked you, I'm coming in and I wanna look at that truck." 6 weeks ago.
Opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what else? What's another way? I like it.
Banks, businesses that you do in church.
Okay, developing your sphere of influence.
So some of the guys downstairs, they get little letters and like letters or like a
Thank you cards.
yeah, thank you cards, stuff like
Yes.
that to the previous customers.
Yep.
Or just to people they know. It's like, hey, if you know somebody that wants a car,
Yeah.
tell them about me.
Handwritten letters are an opportunity.
Mhm.
Taillight videos are an opportunity. Right? Okay, what are your threats? What are some examples? And part of the reason we're going through this is just to jog your mind. Right, you can come up with strengths and weaknesses, right? We all know what strengths and weaknesses are, right? But opportunities and threats can be a little bit more confusing in this process, right? And it's literally a box. Make a box and put a cross in it. You got 4 squares. You got, yeah, right? So what are some threats?
Laziness, procrastination.
Okay, so you do have some internal threats. Keep
Yeah,
going.
poor like time management, that kind of stuff.
Okay, let me ask you, would you put those as threats or would you put those as weaknesses?
Weaknesses. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
What's your competition be internal? Like other stores?
Okay, so those are some threats. So, because remember that, and that's why I put this up early. Internal and external, right? That's how you know where to put it in the box. Now, let's say you're going through this and you look at it and you put something like laziness as a threat. Okay. Now you can look and say, oh, well, do I need to move to this box? Move it, right? Internal and external.
So it's fluid. You can move things.
Well, you just realize that, well, I thought of it, it's a threat to my business, but it's not really a threat, it's a weakness because it's an internal source of
And
struggle.
I see internal I got
Yeah,
you now.
right?
Okay.
So your externals are over here.
Uh-huh.
Threats. A good example, say again.
The competition. Like
Competition.
stores.
Right? So Toyota Tundra is, selling that for, $10,000 less than an F-150. Okay. What else?
Economy.
The economy. The economy is a threat, right? Again, you can't impact these things. You can influence them or you can monitor them, right? What else?
For me, I don't know if it'd be a threat or a weakness, being new to the area, not knowing anyone.
Okay, so that's an external component. You can put that in there. Newness, right? That is a threat to your business. You got to overcome that. Okay, what else?
That's my biggest threat.
Would
Okay.
negative reviews, would that be,
Sure.
yeah, that'd be external? Well, but also too, you'll get a negative review based off you though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
Yeah.
that's internal.
So is that where would you put that?
I don't know. Probably a weakness.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you
Put
got
in
a
a weakness.
negative review for a reason. 'Cause you
Okay.
suck.
Where would you put a negative review? I like this. This is a good part, and then we'll move on. This is essentially what I was trying to get to too. Right? A challenge. Where do you put a negative review on something like this?
Opportunity.
Oh, shit. Excuse me. An opportunity. Tell me why.
Mainly because it was an opportunity to like be good to the person, like just it was the person who wrote the review was an opportunity, basically. Like
So the person who wrote the review is an opportunity. You had an opportunity with that person. And so what does a negative review tell you?
that just didn't do as well as you thought you probably did.
You didn't do as well. You dropped the ball somewhere.
And that make you go look back like what did you do wrong? What can I fix?
Look back at what I can fix. And where does that come from?
Strengths.
Strengths, the weaknesses, right? And say, okay, I didn't do as well as I thought I did. Something, I dropped the ball somewhere. Maybe I didn't take an interest in the person as much as I should have. Maybe I didn't pay attention or listen like I should have, right? Okay, I like that. It's also an opportunity for what?
Growth.
Yeah.
Growth. And so this is my favorite thing about when I was cold calling in the real estate world. I loved when somebody yelled at me when they answered the phone. When I was making cold calls.
Challenge.
Because there was an opportunity. Can I take a negative review, reach out to the customer, and express my apology sincerely, and ask for the opportunity to learn, to grow, to become better, and see what I can do, what I can be to that person to turn that review. Now, they're going to keep the review up, fine. What can I do to make it better moving forward? How do I mend this relationship?
Help me improve.
Help me help you.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not just, I'm doing this for my growth. I'm doing this, hey, you know what? It's more important to you than I clearly communicated the first time through my actions or my failure to act in some capacity. I want to make sure that you are a lifelong customer. And at this point, you're not. I'd like to do something to make that better. What can I do? And if you approach it sincerely that way, I mean, the competition, there is none. You're in what's called the category of one at that point. All right. So I'm going to encourage you to do the SWOT analysis. That's what this is all about, right? You're taking a look. This is the question. Are you going to hit your goals, right? For this past year, you had goals. You had something. You may not have written them down until later in the year because we just started doing this. What was it? September?
Yeah.
Right? September, I started doing these meetings with us. But this coming year, hopefully, you're going to take some action quickly, right? You're going to say, okay, I've got a year coming up that I now know how to lay out my success map. I know how to plan my time. I can write out my goals. If I haven't done it already, this is the perfect opportunity to start 2025 becoming the person that's going to hit my goals. Right? Because that's the real question is, are you going to hit your goals? It's not, are you going to get the things you're after? Are you going to become the kind of person that does? That's what all of this is all about. Right? Because life is not about, so if you haven't written this down, come see me later, I'll tell you about it. Life is not about what you get, it's about who you become. So right now we're headed into a new year. The SWOT analysis is going to kind of set you up for success in your business. And we're going to go over one more thing that I'm going to offer you. We talked about the 12-week year before. Does anybody remember what that is?
Yeah, accomplish your goal that you want to do in a year in 12 weeks.
Yes, it lends it.
Parkinson's law.
Parkinson's law. Yeah, good. Look at you. You got it written down. I love it. Yeah. So let's go back to it. Part of the goal setting, right? I asked you to ask yourself a question, if you were brave enough, which was, if I could accomplish my long-term or medium-term goal in 90 days, what might that look like? Right? Condensing time. Right? Parkinson's law says what?
Your goal will either expand or retract in the time that, okay, I'm trying to get it.
You're on it. Yeah.
It will either, your goal will either expand or retract to the time that you set. So
Yes.
if you say, hey, I need to make $15,000 in the next 2 months, like, you might be, it matters on like how you put your effort into it, your strategy. Where are you, and how are you gonna get to number 2, and what's your why? Like you could, if you wanted to make 15,000 in a year as in savings, it will expand to that. If you want to do it to 2 months, your mind and your actions are going to try to find ways to get to that goal.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So work expands to the time allotted.
Right. Thanks for summing that 50 seconds.
No, listen.
Say it again, work.
Work expands
The
to
time.
fill the time allotted.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Listen, you've got to use too many words to get to the most succinct definitions, right? You have to wrestle with the ideas. That's why we're in here, right?
Gotcha.
I've wrestled with a lot of these ideas, and I've heard a lot of people tell me these answers. I didn't make any of this up. right? None of this comes from me, right? It's coming out of me at this moment, but I'm just reflecting back to you what I found out there. All right, so 12-week year. Talked about Parkinson's law. We talked about reaching your goals faster than you anticipate. How many weeks are in a year? A typical year.
52.
So 1 year has 52 weeks. How many months are in a year?
12.
Somebody do that math real quick.
52 divided by 12.
Yeah, 52 divided by 12. Is that what?
4.3.
Yeah, 4.3. All right. That's what I thought. It's 3 repeating, right? Yeah. So 4.3 months in a year. Now, as an aside, why can't we just make it 4? If we had 4 weeks to a month, right? Because this is the number of weeks per month. Okay, when you divide that, why not just make it 4? Right? If we had, do that math. 52 divided by 4. If you had 4 weeks in a month, what would you have?
13.
13 months. Okay? Now you can go down rabbit holes, and a lot of people like to talk about this stuff online and why we're all off. But what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to entertain this year, and not just entertain, but take action on this, a 12-week year. So, a year, because of Parkinson's law, a year is too much time. So I want you to say, okay, here's my medium-term goal. This is what I want to accomplish for the year, because we're used to that, right? So I don't want to throw in any hiccups. But take that, and now we're going to break this down. And so this year, for the first time, probably for you, you're going to break your year down into 4 parts. You're going to have a 12-week year. Your goal for the next 90 days. Because how many days in a month? I'm sorry, how many days in a week? 7 times 12.
84.
Yeah, so close to 90, right? That's where a 0.33 is, right? Okay, so if you have 1 year coming up, you have a 12-week year. So by the way, if that gives you 13 months and you have a 12-week year, what's 12 times 4? 48. What's the difference?
4.
So you have 1 extra month, right? 4 extra weeks means that you have a planning week every year. If you have a 12-week year. See how your cycle goes? Okay. So you have extra time. All of a sudden now, you have 4 years in the same amount of time that everybody else has 1. Why would I ask you to break your year into 4 parts, into 12-week cycles? If you get to December, did you have a goal for this year?
For this year,
Yeah, how many cars did you want to sell?
it wasn't about cars. Probably mostly about money.
About money. Did you have a goal? Did you have a financial goal in your head?
How much I want to make this year.
Did you hit it?
No, not this year.
Not this year. How far off were you?
Not too far.
Not too far. Percentage-wise.
Percentage-wise, probably 60%.
You got 60% of the way there. Or you're 60% of the way off.
60% there.
You got 60% there. So you're more than halfway to where you want it to be, but you're not quite there. Now you look up in December and you're at 60%, it's too late. Right? But let's say over the next 90 days, you look up in the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and you see, oh, I'm only 10% to my goal.
Got a problem.
But you can correct.
Got time to correct.
You got time, right?
Yeah.
You get to week 6 and you're 40% of the way there or 60% of the way there. Corrections are smaller, right? You're playing with smaller margins. So I'm offering you an opportunity. It's okay. Let's not just have an opportunity to hit our goals. Let's have an opportunity to crush our goals, right? So here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. I'm going to encourage you to treat the next 12 weeks like your year.
Yeah.
Give me an example. How much money do you want to make? Or for you, your money. Are you money oriented or are you unit oriented? Who? Unit or money?
Money.
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 I didn't expect anybody to say unit. Yeah, we're all money oriented. Okay.
But you know
so-
what? Let me retract that back. I'm money oriented, but I always look at units.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna stick with units.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with units.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
But
So-
you know, with certain amount of units, you're gonna get certain.
Yeah. So
That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's the idea. That's why I asked, which one are you?
Uh-huh.
Think about what your 1 year goal is, right? Figure that out, because psychologically you have that in you. And then break that down into 4 parts. So give me an example. How many units do you want to sell next year?
So I want to sell at least 132 units.
132 units. How does that break down for the
That
12
breaks
week year?
down that in a 12-week year.
Mhm.
So so that would be 25%. So that's 33 cars within 90 days.
So 33 cars every 12 weeks
Every 12 weeks.
is what you're after.
Yeah, let me make sure. Oh yeah, 33 cars every 12. Yeah, I'm right.
So how would you set your goal? Yeah, because 66 is half.
Yeah, so I would set my goal as a number one. I want to touch 4 people every working day.
Okay, we're gonna get to that. But how would you set your goal? How many cars do you want to sell in 12 weeks?
In 12 weeks, well, how many cars I need to sell in 12 weeks is 33. We said that. And so you may break that down even further into
Sure.
months. 11 a month.
11 a month.
Uh-huh.
And that's how you're gonna set it.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna encourage you to do. 33 is the actual number.
Right. Okay.
Because what happens if you do that?
Just like exactly what you said.
What happens if you did that?
I'll get to my goal faster. And like you said, work expands to the time allotted.
Right? Did I do that right? Yeah.
Right.
If I know that I got 12 weeks to sell 33, and I say, you know what? Instead, I'm going to sell 40. Then when you get to December, where are you? About 150. And what was your goal?
132.
132.
132. So what I'm offering, what I'm asking, what I'm throwing out there is don't just break it down to 25%. Raise the bar. Right? This is about upping your standards, remember?
Right.
Up yours is constantly what we're saying. Okay, so this is, if I hit what my goal is, then that's what I have to do. But I gotta stretch, because it's not about what you get, it's about who you become. So what if you became the kind of person that can sell 40 cars in 12? What does that break down to?
That 40 times 4 quarters.
If you do the 40 divided by 3, right? Because you got 3 months in that 12, right? You got,
Excuse me. I'm
15
sorry.
cars.
right? So if you're selling 15 cars a month,
Is it? Oh, 13.
13.
Yeah.
13, sorry.
About 50.
but if you're selling 15 cars a month, you got 45.
Gotcha.
All right. So if you did your 13, you'd be, what is that? It's actually 39, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to the 15 cars a month, you know that you're at 45. So all you did was raise your standard a little higher,
Right.
right? So raise your standard, round it up, and not say, "Oh, I give myself a cushion so I can fail." No, fuck that.
Mhm.
Give yourself a cushion so you can breeze at the end of the year,
Right.
so it feels good.
Take my vacation.
Or if you want to go into beast mode, you can go, "I blew it away."
Already.
When I set my goal to read a book a week, and I got to 52 books in half the time, did I stop and say, I did it? No, I doubled it, right? So if you set your goal at 132 and you ended up with 180 for the year, would you be upset about it? Probably not. Probably not, right? And that, what is 15 times 12?
15 times 12, sir, is 180.
180.
Yes, sir.
Right? Would you be upset about
Can you live
blowing
with
your
that?
goal out of the water? No. So the 12-week year gives you an opportunity to reframe how you look at your time. In the next 90 days, what do I have to do? Now we're going to get to what you said, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
So you said, I'm going to set my goal to contact X number of people, right? So I want you to think about this. And this is all you have to do, because you got a SWOT analysis to do. And tomorrow we'll go deeper into this. But we're going to talk about, and I believe we did mention this before, and you don't have to come up with them, but you have different measures as you're going through time. As you're setting your goals, as you're knocking things out, you're gonna have lead measures and lag measures. Do you know the difference between those?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so every month we track how many cars we sell. Is that a lead measure or a lag measure? It's a lag measure. Because by the time you measure it, it's past, it's gone. Okay? Money earned, is that a lead or a lag? I gave you the answer.
Lag.
It's a lag. Why? Because by the time you got it, you can measure it, it's too late, right? So that's the problem with this. It reflects the past. What are some lead measures?
How many cars
It takes to
it
get
takes,
there.
yeah, or how many cars you wanna sell for the next month.
So that's a goal,
How many people you need to get in front of?
okay?
Because as you're talking about leads, how many opportunities? So when I see lead, I think of opportunities. You have to create opportunities to get to sold.
Is it what you're tracking?
No, not exactly.
What is lead?
What is a lead measure versus a lag measure?
Are you talking about forecasting?
No. So a lag measure is too late to measure it once it happens, right? I already know how many I sold. I can't have any impact on that. This is before you get to the goal. So an example of a lead measure would be, how many letters did I send out? How many phone calls did I make? How many co-videos do I send out?
How many people did I talk to?
How many people did I talk to? How many ups did I take?
How many appointments?
How many appointments did I set, right? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to think about things, and it's 10, 15 minutes, nothing crazy. But while you're, if you're goofing off, waiting on an up out there, just pull your phone out, go into notes, and be like, lead. Put lead and lag, right? And put what you think. Think of, brainstorm things that are lead measures and lag measures. You might be wrong. We'll dig into it tomorrow. But you want to focus on that. Now, it's important to measure, right? What you measure matters, right? If you can track it, you can change it, okay? So you have to track, you have to know your number. These are important numbers. I'm not saying that that's not important to track, but by the time you track it, it's too late. So you want to focus on your lead measures. You want to figure out, what do I need to do to get where I want to be?
Should we look at like closing ratios of appointments versus?
So your closure ratio comes into calculating what the important lead measures are. Because if you know you close 1 and 2 or 1 and 4, that's going to dictate how many people you got to get in front of, right? And then on this side of the margin, which we'll get into, this is where we're going, is what do I need to do? What do I need to do to close that ratio? Right? How good do I need to get, and how do I get there? Okay? So that's next. But what are we doing today? I threw a lot at you today. It's been a while. SWOT analysis. Okay? Go think about your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats to your business, you Inc., right? Then you're going to go into the 12-week year. So think SWOT analysis. Then you're going to think 12-week year. Set your goals. Set your goals for the next year and break it down. And then raise your standard, right? Stretch. Become a little, what do I need to do to be better? Right? Then think about, what are lead and lag measures in your business? What are some of the things that you measure? Right? And so write it down if it's something you measure, and then figure out if it's lead or lag. Right? So don't worry about categorizing it right. Think of the measuring things. What are the things, right? Because what that's going to do for you is you're going to come up with a bunch of things, right? That's the actions that you can take. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use RPM to plan that out for you. We're going to plan your next 12 weeks. We're going to use this tool to actually put something into action, to put a game plan together. So you're taking massive action to get to the goal you want. And I'm going to ask you to change your language for this next 12 weeks as an experiment, right? Now, I want you to crush December. But when I'm talking 12 weeks, we're going to talk January, February, March. Okay, we're going to talk the first 12 weeks of the year. Because we're going to do something we haven't done before. December is going to be focused on how do we change our lives next year. Because psychologically we have a new year coming. Crush December. implement these things. Remember, it's messy in the middle, right? It's hard in the beginning, messy in the middle, and glorious at the end. It's gonna be hard, right? Let December be hard. Work your butt off to make December something. December to remember.
Oh my God.
That commercial. Listen, it sticks, right? But I'm gonna ask you to change your goals to your commitments. Make a commitment to yourself. Because are you gonna hit your goal for this year?
Absolutely.
This past
No.
year? No? Are you hitting your goal? Are you gonna be where you want to be? The 60% of the way to the 100.
That's the plan.
Did you get there this year? No. Ricky T, did you hit your goal for this year?
Nope.
Yolanda, did you hit your goal for this year?
Not yet, but I can't, not yet.
Is it possible for you?
No.
Okay, so you're not gonna hit your goal for this year. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not doing this to embarrass anybody. People don't hit goals. But you're gonna become somebody in 2025 that keeps their commitments.
Thank you.
So I want you to make commitments to yourself over here. Change that word. Remember the power of language? Change that word for yourself. What are your commitments? Write that down. What are my commitments to me? Right? Because then as we come up with things that you're going to do, and this is your plan, I'm not making it for you. You're going to make it and you're going to stick to it. It's your commitment to yourself, not to Elvis, not to Tony, not to Teresa, not to Steven, not to Johnny, not to Adrian. This is your commitment to you. This is what you want. Okay? All right, cool. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you.
December to remember.
December to remember.
My God, how